Is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Oh, the beauty of live TV and having the flu. You forget to bring things on. Welcome, everyone, to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts, and to my right is a man who's going to be putting on the Ritz later, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
Definitely putting it on the Ritz. My dance moves, I can beat that Frankenstein. Now, I'm doing all right. I am finally, I feel bad because I feel like I'm finally coming out of the woods with what I had, and now you're playing hurt. But just remember, everybody, everybody in the comments and everybody that watches and we care about you. We love having you here for the show, and we're going to play hurt always.
Oh yeah. I mean, Gary Carter said it best after a game during the 1986 season when the Mets won the World Series. He says, you got to play through pain. And that's exactly what we're doing. What both Dustin and I are doing. I have the flu. Dustin, I'm pretty sure, had the flu himself, but we're pushing through.
Oh, yeah.
We're pushing through on a Saturday morning.
We're making it work, and we're excited to talk sports. And hopefully you can get some rest after this, sir.
Absolutely. That's what I'm going to do. Snowman joins us from Indiana, says, hey, welcome. And Sapna already with the sports ball comment. Sports ball.
There we go.
I can't do as enthusiastically as I usually do, but I'm trying. Before we go on with what we're going to talk about today, we're going to remind you about our social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/ at NoCredsREQ. Just want to remind you, regardless of how sick we are, we want you to like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels, which are right down here below. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on a myriad of podcast networks, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, the soon-to-be departed Google Play, wherever you podcast. Rate and review. A 5-star rating would be very, very helpful. And if you're on a platform where you can review, go ahead and review. We might even read it on the air. And because this is a live show, we want you to engage the comments. We've got comments coming in already from a myriad of people. But yeah, we want your comments, and I want to hear the sound because I know it's going to make me feel better. So I'm going to play that magical sound. So yeah, it's a live program. We want you to engage with us, engage with the show. We want your comments. We want you to engage with us, and just be smart about your comments. Don't say anything stupid, or you get the yank. You're getting the yank. We'll play that gong, and you'll be escorted. You'll be escorted from the grounds, my friend.
Yeah, you'll be gone. The gong.
Yes, the gong, like the Gong Show back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get to this weekend. We're gonna try and keep it relatively abridged because my voice is struggling right now, and Dustin's still recovering from what he had last week. We're gonna start with the NFL Conference Championships. The first game on the docket, Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens at the 3:00 game on Sunday. Dustin, let's get your thoughts about this game. What are you looking at in this game?
I got to be honest. I am rooting for the Birds. Nothing against the Chiefs, but I would like to see the Ravens advance. I have waxed poetic at various times throughout the year on this very show about my apologies to Lamar Jackson, and I don't care what that one lady said. He's quarterbacky enough for me. But I am concerned because the Chiefs, they seem to be finding their groove finally after kind of having a season of ups and downs. And the key has been Steve Spagnuolo's defense, because when their offense sputters, which it has done, it's not the efficient unit that it's been in the past. This year, by their standards, Steve Spagnuolo and his defense has been able to right the ship They seem to get a timely sack by Chris Jones when they need it. And they seem to be able to shut teams down when they need to stop them. But this should be a good game because and this is going off the top of the dome. It's a live show, so I could be wrong, but I believe Lamar Jackson is 3-1 against one Patrick Mahomes when you put them head to head. So he's one of the few quarterbacks that has a quote unquote winning record against one Patrick Mahomes. But either way, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Will the Ravens be able to run on the Chiefs as they have? Will the Chiefs defense be able to contain and keep Lamar in the pocket? And will the Ravens defense continue their unbelievable run and prove how good they are? And will they be able to discombobulate the Chiefs and stop Patrick Mahomes? Because let's not forget, not only can he do it with his arm, he can also move around in the pocket and create plays and keep them going. He's not quite the athlete, I would say, by my eye, that Lamar is, but he's close enough. He can certainly move around. He's certainly got some speed. And will Travis Kelce continue to be the safety valve that he's been for Patrick Mahomes when he needs a big catch over the years? And you got to hope for the Chiefs that their receiver drops don't rear their ugly head. That was a big reason why they were able to advance last week. You didn't get some of the drops that the Chiefs receivers had been doing. And I'm just really excited for this game, especially because you got to figure as a special teams coach background, John Harbaugh is going to shore up the special teams, which was really the only weakness that the Ravens showed against the Texans. And I just have a feeling it's going to be a good one. And as I've said before, Baltimore finally has what could be considered a number one receiver in Zay Flowers. And I think that's right. I said it. I think Odell is the number 2 there, but that's a great wide receiver tandem. You can say what you want about Odell, but he's looked good at points this year, and at points he's taken over games a little bit. And Zay Flowers looks to be the real deal.
I don't disagree with you. This is going to be, look, I joke around and I say, Lamar Jackson, save us. Please save us from the Swifties, the Beehive, the band of orcs. They're all the same people. I joke around. I said that jokingly, sort of. But the matter of, I mean, this is all 4 games. Both these games this weekend are going to be great games, I think.
Mm.
Baltimore has, I gotta apologize to Baltimore too, because I didn't talk enough about them this year. I didn't talk enough about them. They've been so quietly dominant this year that I just have to say I'm sorry as well. I'm sorry for sleeping on the Baltimore Ravens as well. But you also have to give credit to the Kansas City Chiefs for hanging around for so long. They've been championship quality for the last probably 7 years, 7
Yeah.
years. Been to 6 consecutive conference championships. I mean, they are, I dare to say, they're the Patriots of this decade. And yeah, you want to hate them. You want to hate on them. You want to hate on them for the success. You want to hate on them because of Patrick Mahomes. You especially want to hate on them this year because of because Travis Kelce is, I wouldn't say he's been a distraction, but he's now America's spokesperson for just about everything from insurance to credit cards to vaccinations, you name it. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to come down to what Baltimore's offense can do against Kansas City's defense, like you said, Dustin. And the Bills, for some reason, last week abandoned the run in the 4th quarter. I don't know why they did that, but the Ravens don't do that. The Ravens like to go on these long marches. They did this last week against Houston. They go on these long marches and they grind their opponent's defense down to absolute pulp. And that's what Baltimore did last week. And I think It's very possible we could just see the same result. Well, we have a 10-10 tie going into halftime, and then Baltimore goes on these long drives and essentially steals the game and punches their ticket to Las Vegas. The one player I'm keeping an eye on is Mark Andrews. I want to see if he's going to be active for this game. There's rumors that he could be medically cleared to play after suffering that ankle injury back in November, which effectively should have ended his season. But the marvels of modern technology. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Modern medicine, he's back. So I'm looking to see if he's going to be returned to the lineup. You got two dynamic quarterbacks in Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. They're going to be doing head to head, and this could be, we're hoping that this would be the rivalry for the last couple seasons, but unfortunately, Baltimore has been inconsistent. They've had injuries to deal with. Last year, they had a lot of injuries to deal with. This year, they've been relatively healthy, with the exception of Mark Andrews going down in November. So, going into this game, also, we talk about health. Kansas City has a line of injuries.
Yeah,
that's going to affect them, and we could see the return of one Kadarius Toney to the lineup.
I don't know if that's a net positive for the Chiefs. I don't know. No shade against Kadarius Toney, but I really don't know if that's a net positive. But I think you hit on one thing that was aptly said in there, because I think that you mentioned that the Ravens can grind out drives.
Yeah.
That's not the Chiefs' style this year. The Chiefs, they score quickly and they respond. But the difference with Baltimore this year is I think they can do both. If they fall behind early to the Chiefs, they have enough firepower to respond in kind and score quickly, but they can also grind it out. So that's another dimension where I might give Baltimore the slight edge. However, if Isaiah Pacheco keeps running the way that he's been running, he's going to be tough to stop as well. But Baltimore's defense, I think, is going to be up to the task.
I do not disagree with you. I'm actually looking up the injury report right now for the Kansas City Chiefs to find out who's going to be in the lineup on Sunday. And according to the injury report, Derek Notty's out, Sky Moore out, Mike Edwards questionable, Isaiah Pacheco questionable. He's playing.
Yeah.
Willie Gay did not practice on Friday, so that could be a concern. Joe Thuney, he's out.
Wow.
He with a pectoral injury. So this Kansas City Chiefs lineup, I mean, they went to the wall last week against the Buffalo Bills. I think it might have cost them, but hey, we play the game for a reason. We play the games for a reason. And the Baltimore Chiefs are where they are because they just are. They just are. And I just it's just gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a great game. I think what'll happen is that we'll see a repeat of last week. Baltimore and Kansas City, they'll be clashing. They'll have the tie at halftime. Going in the third quarter, I think Baltimore will be ahead. Then they'll have a long drive to just basically end things for Kansas City. That's how I see it going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rice-Stradamus could be correct. We don't really know. This is Rice-Stradamus with some cold and flu medicine and some limited amounts of coffee and some hot tea. But
yeah,
and the halls of medicine.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But hey, Baltimore hasn't been to the pinnacle in a while, and I think they're due.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are due.
Yeah, but I can't wait to watch either way. And I think we should also. It is probably time to dive into the next game as well, because this game I'm very concerned about. I'm very concerned, and again, I'll be showing bias. But I'll let you lead off with this one.
Yes, the Detroit Lions at the San Francisco 49ers. We had our guy Snowman checking with us saying, bang, bang, Niner gang. Because we know he's a big, devoted, he's a very devoted San Francisco 49ers fan, has been since 1981, I think. Yeah, so over 40 years, long dedicated fan. This is going to be another interesting matchup because I don't know what Deebo Samuel's status is.
Yeah.
He's been questionable all week. He hasn't practiced. Adam Schefter guess he's a 50-50, even though he doesn't have a medical degree. He's a journalism degree, not a medical degree. So
I would say he's got a 50-50 shot of playing per sources. No.
Yeah, he's got the same degree as Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody. Hi,
yeah,
Adam
if I was fully well, I would do my Dr. Nick Riviera impersonation because I think it's a good one. So maybe we'll put a pin in that, and I'll have to do that when I recover. But the respected institution that is Hollywood Upstairs Medical College.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, the neck bone's connected to the wristwatch. But yeah, Deebo Samuel questionable for Sunday. I think this will affect the 49ers in a big way if he doesn't play. Now, I guess they said that the injury is not the same as it was a few months ago when he had that shoulder injury where he literally broke his shoulder. I mean, that's a painful injury. I've dealt with shoulder issues before. I've dealt with lower neck. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun. And Detroit is pretty much fully healthy. Their one guy, I'm trying to remember his name. He's a guard. I'll look it up in the injury report, but he was playing all sorts of hurt last week. And the guy had like an ankle injury, a toe injury, a knee injury, and he still kept playing.
Yeah.
He still kept playing. He stayed in the game. And it's insane that these guys dedicate the amount of dedication for these guys is just unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. Sam Laporte is playing. Alex Anzalone, he's playing. Frank Ragnow. Ankle injury stat. He did not practice Wednesday, did not practice Thursday, full practice Friday. He's playing. And this is what he has listed as his injuries. Ankle, toe, knee, back.
Oh man. So basically just his whole lower body is not doing well, and part of his upper body depending on where it is in the back.
If it were the Detroit Red Wings, it'd be called a lower body injury.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wondered back in the day.
What's affecting him? His entire lower body.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I always wondered back in the day why they didn't specify where the injury was in hockey, but then I was like, yeah, they got sticks, they got skates. Yeah, they probably shouldn't. Somebody out there just club somebody in the stick with a knee. How's that feel?
Yeah.
Or club somebody in the knee with the stick. I reverse that. Club somebody with a knee right in the stick.
Okay. So I want to clarify. Deebo Samuel did not practice on Wednesday, limited practice Thursday, full practice Friday.
Wow.
So I think he's playing. He's playing.
I don't know. Yeah, but with a quote unquote broken shoulder, will he be able to do some of what he usually does? I doubt they're going to run him much, but who knows? He'll probably just get a cortisone shot and say, "Here we go. It's one game or go home." So I'm
shoot me up.
Yeah,
shoot me up. Yeah, he'll be like Lawrence Taylor in Any Given Sunday in the locker room with the doctor with the conscience saying, "Come on, put the needle in me. Do it. Shoot me up. I need that." But I think the big matchup in this game will be San Francisco's wide receivers versus Detroit's secondary.
Yeah,
Detroit's secondary hasn't been great, I would say, but they did okay against Tampa Bay last week. They had a miserable game against Los Angeles a couple weeks ago against the Rams.
Yeah,
but I mean, they bailed themselves out. Actually, I should say Aiden Hutchinson bailed them out. But that's another matchup I'm looking at is the 49ers offensive line versus Detroit's defensive line, and to see how they're going to limit Aiden Hutchinson in this game. I think this will be a close matchup. I think this will be a closer matchup than the spread indicates. If I'm looking at the spread, because we don't really do spreads on on our show.
Yeah, it's not our
because
bag.
we don't really do sports books. It's not our bag because we're not degenerate gamblers. The spread is 7. San Francisco's favored by 7. I mean, 3 of those points is because they're at home, so it's a closer spread than I think it's indicated. But Dustin, I'm going to give this over to you. What's your thoughts on this game? What are you looking forward to? What are you looking out for for this game?
Well, this one too. Okay. And I have to admit it up front, and I'm sorry, Snowman. It's no shade to your teams. No shade at all. But I'm rooting for the Detroit Lions. I would love to see them make it to the Super Bowl. The run that they've had and the things that those fans have been through, and finally winning their first playoff game since 1991. I am hoping that Detroit is able to pull this out, but I am very concerned just because I know firsthand how good the Niners are. The Niners, you got to figure the Niners defense is going to be motivated after almost getting taken down by Green Bay. The Niners defense and offense, the entire team is going to be extremely motivated to show everyone who they are. I have a feeling the running game is going to be huge for both teams in this game because David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs have both been sensational for Detroit. They've kind of done a nice variation of attacks. And then when you get to the Niners, all you have to say is they have the touchdown machine that has been Christian McCaffrey this season. And let's not forget, as you pointed out, they have some running backs that can fill in should Christian McCaffrey need a rest. So the running game is going to be big because I think I would give, might be an unpopular opinion, but with the year that he's had, I would give the Detroit Lions the short edge at quarterback. I think Jared Goff has played better than Brock Purdy has this season. No disrespect to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has also played very well. But I think where the 49ers still have the advantage, the Lions have weapons. They have weapons on offense. But I would still give the edge to the 49ers especially with Debo playing. Even if they use him as a decoy for some plays, given his injury status, he's still someone you have to account for. And like I said, don't forget about George Kittle, because people say, okay, we're going to shut down the Niners receivers. Then they're going to start throwing to Kittle, and then you're going to have some problems because people forget how good he can be. It's just that he's kind of forgotten in this 49ers offense to a degree because there's so many mouths to feed. But Sam Laporta, he's become crucial for Detroit. I'm glad to hear that he's playing, because if he was not playing, this would be a much more uphill climb for them. But you hit the nail on the head, I think. I think whether Detroit's secondary can actually contain Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and Kittle and McCaffrey catching the ball out of the backfield at all.
Yeah.
That's going to be the big matchup. And also I will be looking at Dan Campbell has done an amazing job. But again, I think I give the slight edge to Kyle Shanahan regarding the coaching matchup. Kyle Shanahan can adjust. We've seen him do it. So Aaron Glenn is going to have to be creative to scheme up this Detroit defense for Kyle Shanahan. But I think the Niners defense is going to come out teeth gnashing and ready to play, because they did not perform up to their standards. And I think they're going to be looking to shut the Detroit Lions down. I hope that this game is close. But I am having trouble getting a feel for this game. I don't know which way it's going to go.
No, you're absolutely right in saying that San Francisco is going to come out and they're going to probably try to punch Detroit in the mouth immediately, based on what happened last week. Based on the fact that they came out slow, and when Debo got hurt, it just seemed like they were lost for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they fought through all that adversity to get to a certain point. And then they had that missed field goal, which fortune smiled upon them. In that moment, the missed field goal, they drove the length of the feet. They drove down the field in 12 plays and over 6 minutes, punched it in. And their defense took care of things from there on out. I think it's going to be a lot tougher, personally. And yeah, I'm a little biased myself because I want to see Detroit go to the Super Bowl. Their fans have been through the ringer. They went 0-16 in 2008.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell was a part of that team.
Yeah, exactly. And to see going from 0-16 to the Super Bowl in a decade and a half would be just the icing on the cake for a team, for a fan base. Look, I have sympathy for fellow fan bases who are tortured, who are star-crossed, like a Cleveland in a way like the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Although some of their stuff, some of their stuff has been the franchise shooting itself in the foot. Like, hello, Deshaun Watson, $240 million guaranteed. But Detroit, like that's an organization I have sympathy for because again, I come from a fan base that is long suffering, so I get it. But I won't be surprised if San Francisco wins this game either. All I want out of these two games is good football. That's all I want. We didn't get it in the wild card round, with the exception of Detroit, Los Angeles. We got it last week in the divisional round. We got good football.
Oh, yeah.
I want these games to be just good football. That's all I want. All I want. I don't want it to be a blowout. I don't want it to be at halftime where I'm sitting there and one team's down by 24. And I have to turn off the TV and watch something else to fill my time.
Yeah.
I want both games to be competitive, to be thrilling throughout, and I just want to be awake enough to witness both endings. But I think it's good. Both these games are going to be great games, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. I'm excited for football. I am ready for some football, Hank Williams, if you're asking.
That's right. Before we get to our first commercial break, we're going to take a quick trip to the comment section. Snowman says, more sports ball. And Jersey G says, so Taylor Swift fans are going to flood Baltimore? I don't know, but I will say this. I hope Jason Kelsey's there because I want more of that spirit.
Yeah.
Because he is my spirit animal in a way. All right, we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive into some NHL. We're going to do something we haven't done in a while, and we want to get more into on the Saturday Brunch edition. I know credentials required. We're going to talk some NHL and some NBA.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh. So stick around for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. It's the only coffee that goes in this mug is Invader Coffee. And last week I ordered some more bags. I got got another bag of Bad Santa while supplies last, and I got the break in case of emergency. I haven't broken into them yet because I'm still working on the bag that Dustin gave me from our Battle of the Bryans contest.
We'll have to do something again for the baseball season. Another battle.
We'll just like do like the battle of the sodas or something.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out off air. But yes, Invader Coffee, fuel for the fearless. Get yourself a bag. Link in the description for our affiliate link. Also use promo code BELLYUP at checkout for 15% off your order. And again, you might pay a little bit extra for shipping, but it's well worth it. You get it in a matter of days, not a week, not 10 days. You get it in a matter of days.
Yeah.
And I ordered my bags on Friday. They shipped here. They were here by Monday. They were here by Monday afternoon. That's how much Invader Coffee loves you. And listen, they're veteran owned. Do you hate veterans? Do you hate your country? Of course you don't. Get yourself some Invader Coffee. Visit the link in the description. Code BELLYUP at checkout. 15% off your order. I know, Dustin, you love yourself some Invader Coffee. I see you sipping on it, or you're sipping some tea. I don't know what you're sipping on this morning, but
Yeah, I'm sipping. Full disclosure, I'm sipping on like another type of hot beverage to try to kick this thing for once and for all.
yeah.
But normally on weekends and during the week, sometimes through the magic of the K cups that they do have two varieties in K cups. I will be sipping on Invader Coffee. Some of my favorite blends. I like the Bad Santa as well. I myself have a bag I can't wait to dip into. I've got the bourbon bacon blend. That one's good. That one's a slow burn, though. That one's going to last me a while because I'll be drinking that, as a special treat every once in a while. And then I got Donut Dealer. I want it to be back in stock. It's one of my favorite. And I do like the OG blend. And I also ordered a bag of the Break in Case of Emergency blend. You said good things about that. I can't wait to try that one. So, yes, they have many different kinds of coffee. They have medium, light, dark roast for every kind of palate. And they really come up with some interesting blends. And as Ryan said, it gets to you fast. And every product I've had from them, I have enjoyed immensely.
Yeah. So visit the link in the description, whether on the YouTube side or the Facebook side or on the podcast side. Visit our affiliate link because you help the show when you visit and purchase from the affiliate link, and you get 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP at checkout. So before we dive into the NHL and the NBA, as I mentioned before in our warm up, I say warm up, but in our greeting, in our opener, I asked who's wearing their hair better. Is it Dustin Henry or is it Maurice the Rocket Richard? And I have the commercial from Grecian hair dye from the 1970s. So I'll go ahead and play that commercial.
Oh, man.
When it comes to feeling young, a lot of it's up here.
3 years ago, Maurice Richard said goodbye gray hair. Hello, Grecian Formula 16.
It was so easy, remember?
Grecian's as easy to use as water. It's for any color hair.
The change was so gradual and looked so natural, no one even noticed. Today, I still leave a touch of gray. My wife likes it. Hey, Richard, 2 minutes for looking so good.
Look as young as you feel with Grecian Formula.
Oh, man. I do kind of have that look going. The hair, the salad, as Scott Van Pelt sometimes calls it, is getting a little long up top, so it's getting hard for me to manage. So this is the result of being unable to wrangle my hair this morning, and it looks like I have Brill cream in my hair. I think I have to give the edge to Maurice.
Rest in peace, Maurice Richard, the Rocket. And it's just hilarious how his accent comes out. It's like,
Yeah.
my wife say I look so good.
Yeah. Today I leave a touch of gray. The wife like it.
Hey, Richard, 2 minutes for looking so good.
Well, and
Speaking
I
of it,
like the part where he's like, "It's so easy to use. Remember," and then it just cuts to somebody else being like, you use it like water,"
yeah. So speaking of hockey, we're talking about your Edmonton Oilers, Dustin. They're on a 15-game heater.
Yeah, I didn't.
Let's talk about it a little bit more. I don't know if there's a secret, but what's your, as a fan, does this get you excited or is this just a temporary thing?
Well, it's a little bit of both, okay? Because I have been on these airwaves, and I've expressed to you privately over a few adult beverages that the
Mhm.
Oilers are. I am worried about Connor McDavid and the window that they have with Connor McDavid because the one year they get to the Western Conference Finals and they just get swept out by the Avalanche. It was like a drubbing. And then a few years ago they took, I think it was a, I'm going off memory, so I'm going to be wrong probably, but I think it was a 7-game series against the Ducks. I can't remember,
The
but they got.
Kings.
Oh, the Kings, that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they got bounced, and they weren't supposed to. They were favored in that series. They were not supposed to lose that. Um, and it just seems like the Oilers can't get over the hump when they get into the playoffs. They've been able. Now we are. Thankfully, we are far removed from some of the dog years after that 2006 magical run. It was not a good run for the Oilers, but I was very skeptical because the Oilers started out the season on quite a skid, so much of a skid that their coach got fired. And there were a lot of Oiler fans that felt, why'd you fire the coach? He's not the problem. The goaltending is the problem. But something worked because I think the real secret is Connor McDavid got healthy, fully healthy. But the coaching change obviously did something because they are on a heck of a roll right now. The goaltending has shored up to some degree, but I have to admit, the pessimist in me is worried. I would have
Mm.
rather they'd be doing this right before the playoffs, or like, because to me, I don't want them this hot at this time because the pessimist in me is saying they're going to cool off and then they're going to
Mm.
scuffle, and
Right.
it's just, I am worried about that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, actually, I did some real time research because that's what we do in this program, and you were right. In 2017, they were bounced by the Anaheim Ducks in the second round of the playoffs.
Okay. Yep.
So
Yep.
you were right. So that's one for Dustin.
All right.
Um,
There we go.
hey, there you go. Yeah, I thought about this yesterday. I'm going, all right. Edmonton's on a 15-game heater, and we look at it this way: the Stanley Cup is not won on winning streaks during the regular season.
Oh,
Stanley Cup is won in the playoffs. And it has been a very long time since the Edmonton Oilers won a Stanley Cup. I believe it was 1990 they won their last Stanley Cup.
I believe you are right.
And it was 1993 since 1993 that a Canadian based team has won a Stanley Cup. So I think, yeah, I mean, Connor McDavid's playing well. Everything seems to be working for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, I want to say this though, for history's purpose, for posterity's sake. The longest winning streak in the NHL, in NHL history, was 17 games by the 1992-1993 Pittsburgh Penguins.
Mhm.
They did not win the Stanley Cup that year.
Yeah.
And they were
That's my
considered
concern.
they were considered by many to be one of the greatest teams in NHL history up to the playoffs. Up to the playoffs, they rolled through my New Jersey Devils in 5 games. Then they met the New York Islanders in the second round, who nobody thought was going to go to the playoffs that year. And they were upset on an overtime goal by, I believe it was Ray Ferraro,
Oh, man.
7 of the of the what was then the Wales Conference semifinals. So and then that there was a Patrick Division final. So and then Islanders met Montreal and the Eastern in the Wales Conference Final, got bounced in 5. Montreal won the Stanley Cup in 5 games against Los Angeles. But yeah, that was a great team too. Mario Lemieux in his prime, Jaromir Jagr in his prime. Very similar uh,
Yeah.
parallel to Connor McDavid and
And
Draisaitl.
Leon Draisaitl. Yeah.
And Connor McDavid, being kind of a modern day Lemieux, far and away leading the NHL in points, and Leon Draisaitl being that really great complementary piece to McDavid, similar to Mario Lemieux and
And
Jaromir
Jaromir.
Jagr being a great complimentary piece to Lemieux, or to McDavid. But yeah, it's interesting the parallels. They have 2 more games, and it's right before we're coming up right to the All-Star break. I believe it's All-Star break is next weekend.
Yeah.
And we're coming up against it. And let's see what the schedule is tonight. Let me see what Edmonton's going to be playing. They're playing Nashville at 4 p.m. Eastern. So unfortunately, it's not going to be. I mean, you can probably listen to it on the NHL app, because the great thing about the NHL app, and I'll say this about the NHL and how they're marketing their game. If you can't watch it on TV, like if you don't have the League Pass or the Center Ice package,
Yeah.
you listen to every game for free on the NHL app.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I got to start doing that because honestly, I miss too many Oiler games. The only time I catch them is when they're playing a New York team, most times. I do have NHL Network, so every once in a while I'll catch like a random Hockey Night in Canada game. But even then, and I hate to admit it because I was always a night owl, but by the time the Oiler games get on, I'm usually, getting ready to doze off or something, especially during the week. So I don't see as much Oiler hockey as I once did. Shout out to our man, P. Schmitty, who sometimes watches. He had the
Where you Schmitty? Come on.
Yeah, he had the Center Ice package in high school. So we did watch. He's a diehard Pens fan. So we watched a lot of Pens games, a lot of Oiler games. But I don't see as much Oiler hockey as I once did.
Yeah, so this will actually be the Edmonton's last game before the All-Star break. And yes, the All-Star game is next Saturday at 3 p.m. They'll be in Toronto, and they're kind of switching things up again with the All-Star format, in that there are 4 different teams. And hey, look at that! Speaking of the devil.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Thanks for the Center Ice back in high school, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. But I guess it's a different format this year. They're not going to do they're going to do the 3-on-3 mini games again. But instead of the divisions, it's going to be like players being captains and then selecting their own teammates like they did in the past with different teams. So I think one of them's Team McKinnon, Nathan McKinnon from Colorado. One's Connor McDavid, Team McDavid. One is Team Hughes with Luke and Jack Hughes. Unfortunately, he's on IR, retroactive to January 5th, which is when I went to see his game.
Oh yes.
And I'm trying to remember the last player. I think it's Austin Matthews is the last captain. So I'll look it up. But it's an interesting format for the All-Star game this year, as opposed to having the divisions play each other in mini games. They're going to have captains. They're going to have team captains for their individual players. They'll have their own draft like they had back in the day. And they'll have mini games from there and decide who the winner is. So, but yeah, that's today is Edmonton's last game before they go on the All-Star break. And unfortunately, it's not on NHL Network. They're showing Boston at Philadelphia instead.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, I gotta say, Philadelphia, to their credit, Philadelphia is having a good year this year. They're currently in 3rd place in the Metro Division. So, but yeah, that's got Dustin's opinion about the Edmonton Oilers, his team. My opinion about the New Jersey Devils is that they need to get some goaltending. They also need to get healthy very quick, or else their prospects for the Stanley Cup are going to be out the window. Although we do need to mention one other team that's on a heater. One other team that's currently on a heater, but they're a local team.
Oh yes.
The Adirondack Thunder have won 12 games in a row.
Oh man, that Glens Falls Civic Center, that'd be rocking.
And if I look at the standings right now, if I look at the ECHL, they're actually in town tonight. They won again last night. They're playing Trois Rivières Lions tonight at 7 p.m. And if I look at the standings for the ECHL currently, I'm going to see they're currently tied for first place in the Eastern Conference with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, who
That's a great name.
who I believe are the Carolina Hurricanes ECHL affiliate.
Oh, okay.
And they're tied for the league lead because in second place right now in the league standings are the Kansas City Mavericks in the Western Conference with 58 points. So Adirondack 12 wins in a row. They're on a heater as well. And
Yeah.
folks, we've said it on this program. We'll say it again. If you're watching locally in the 518, go support your local teams. They deserve every bit of your attention, every bit of attention as much as the professional teams nationally do. Go support your local teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it.
100%. 100%. And you know what? I haven't been to a Thunder game, and that's something I think I'm going to have to remedy. I used to go to the Devils games when they were here. Before that, as thanks again to Schmitty, we went to a lot of River Rats games during some of the lean years. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You could say something and you knew they heard it on the ice. You knew.
Yeah. Cavernous, the MVP arena was during the dark days of the River Rats. My goodness.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to conclude this show talking about the NBA. I know we don't talk about the NBA that much on this program. I think the last time we talked about it was Thanksgiving. But this week, Dustin, we had 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 60-plus point scorers in the NBA. We had Joel Embiid score 70 on Tuesday,
I think.
On the same night, Karl Anthony Towns for Minnesota in a loss scored 62.
60. Oh, 62,
62. Last night, from your Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic scored 73?
74.
74.
He's now fourth highest point total in a game. Kobe in 2006, Wilt had, I think, 70. Oh, I can't remember. I should have retaken a picture of the graphic, but still,
Kobe Bryant had 81. Rest in peace.
In 2006.
Unfortunately, we lost him 4 years ago to that tragic helicopter crash.
Yeah, it's terrible. But,
but
Kobe's still the highest since, nobody's beaten that. But Luka's 74 is the highest point total in a game since one Kobe Bean Bryant did the 81 point performance back in 2006.
Yeah, and also in a loss to the Indiana Pacers, Devin Booker for the Phoenix Suns had 62, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Because Karl Anthony Towns either had 60 or 62, and Booker either had 60 or 62. I can't remember, but it was one of them. They all scored 60 points or over, which is ridiculous. And it's nice.
Devin Booker had 62.
Yeah. Okay. So this is. I'm just going to speak on this quickly because one of the principal players is one Luka Doncic. Everybody knows that I'm in the tank for Luka. One of my favorite clips in the history of the show is the clip that you cut out of me ranting when you asked me to torch the Mavs. And I brought 1995's WWF into my analogy. If you want to see how it happened, go to our YouTube channel and check it out. But that is the last time that I talked about Luka Doncic extensively on this show. But the night before this one, there was a fan that Luka had ejected. I think it's a little sensitive. They were in Phoenix, and the fan told Luka to get his fat rear end. I'll censor it. A fat rear end on the treadmill. And I guess Luka took that personally because not only did he have the fan ejected, which I was like, Luka, that's a little soft,
He pulled a LeBron James.
I was like, that's a little. But he came out and he ripped the Atlanta Hawks for 74 points. But I'll be interested to see how he, because even in the press conference after, I watched a little bit, and they said, how do you feel about doing this? And he was very genuflective to Kobe, talking about how great it was to be up there with Kobe and Wilt and some of the names that were on that list. I can't remember the other one, but he's a Warriors player, I believe. It's Wilt, Kobe, Luca, and another person who I should remember. But he said, I got
Robinson?
What?
David Robinson?
No, it is not David Robinson. It's oh geez. I do not know. I'll have to look that up during another, maybe if we'll look it up while we're discussing something. But
I'm looking right now.
but Luca, he said, I got 24 hours until the next game, less than 24 hours until the next game. So I got to recover. I got a feeling Luca might be a little gassed tonight. They might want to rest him a bit.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to see Karl Anthony Towns, we all know he has faith in himself, but some people, when he said, I'm one of the best centers in the NBA, I'm one of the best in the NBA. He said that a couple of years ago, if memory serves, and people laughed at him. But, he can be a force. And this Minnesota Timberwolves team, I mean, they're playing well this year. But I kind of had different thoughts. You got Joel Embiid, great player. He scores what was it, 70 points in a
He
loss?
scored 70 against. No, they won that game against.
Oh, they
Spurs.
won that one.
It was Karl Anthony Towns scoring 62 that he had there. They lost.
Yes. So Karl Anthony Towns scores 62 in a loss. Devin Booker last night scored 62 in a loss. And I'm just thinking to myself, where is the defense in these games for both of the teams? Because usually if a player goes off for even 40 points, the other team is blown out. That's usually what happens. But I looked at these scores, and that's not what happened. And the Pacers team that Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns played was shorthanded. They had some injuries, and the Pacers still won the game in spite of a 62-point performance by Devin Booker. So on the one end, I'm thinking to myself, hats off to Devin Booker, for a great performance. Hats off to Luca for a great performance. Hats off to Karl Anthony Towns for a great performance, and hats off to Joel Embiid. But two of those players lost, and I haven't looked up the scores of the other games. I only know the scores from. Yeah, the score.
And the 76ers won too.
Yeah, they did win, but I only know the scores from the Mavericks game and the Suns game, because those are the two that happened last night. But even the Mavs won that game, but it wasn't like they blew the Hawks out. The Hawks were close. So I'm just like, what the heck is the state of defense in the NBA? Is this the All-Star game? Is this where we are now?
Well, I'm surprised that the All-Star game hasn't reached 200 points.
Yeah.
I said we're gonna get to a point where the All-Star game will be like 205 to 200. That's how much defense. I think defense is devalued in this league. Now, I'll give full credit to the Knicks, the New York Knicks, who played the Denver Nuggets a couple nights ago, and they only held them to, I think, 89 points. Let me look up Thursday night. Yep, sorry, 84. They won by almost 40. They won by 38. 122 to 84. So at least the Knicks are playing some defense. With the Timberwolves, they beat Brooklyn on Thursday, 96 to 94. That's either because it was that. I mean, it could go either way in the NBA. In this modern era, where the emphasis is on better shooting than it is on defense, than it is on driving to the hoop, than it is on overall fundamental play. But something's got to give. I mean, I think part of it also, because look at the parallel with the NFL too. The more that the league has made it more of an offensive league, has made it for the offense. Like you'll see a lot more penalties on the defense these days than in the past.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA has done the same thing. They banned hand. I
check.
think it was the hand check.
Yeah.
Which allowed a lot more freedom offensively. But you also got to give credit to the players are a lot more athletic than back in the day, with the exception of probably a handful like Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman. Like a lot of those guys were, I wouldn't say, I mean, they were athletic, but not as, I guess we could say not as specialized as back in the day. I mean, think about it this way. 50 years ago, guys were playing for not a whole lot of money, but they had jobs in the off season. Guys had jobs in the off season. And now you're at the point where you're getting paid so much money that you don't need to have a second job.
Yep.
You're getting money thrown at you, whether it be by the teams you play for or the endorsements you get or other things outside like movies and rap videos and whatnot. You can specialize. You're allowed to specialize. So I think with the NBA having it the way it is, it's not. I don't think it's not because they're playing so much, not so much the defensive thing, like they're not a lot of defense, but I think just players are they're getting so much money now that they're allowed to work on their game more and specialize. Yes. Like you see Steph Curry launching threes and making threes, and you see a lot of these guys focus on their shooting, focus on their athletic ability. You know, as much as I dislike LeBron James for being the player that he is in terms of the personality that he is, I can admire his athletic ability because he works on it constantly. And he probably does with the Russell Wilson thing. I don't know if he has a poop app like Russell Wilson does. But he probably spends at least $1 million on his personal physical development every single year because he plays in 82 games. I mean, save for the what are they called? Not the maintenance days, but the
rest day or something
the
like
rest
that.
day. Like, I'm going to Charlotte. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to stay out.
That's what it is.
Load management. Yeah, load management. That's stupid. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to Charlotte. No, I'm not going to play in this game. We're going to Detroit. No, I'm not going to play this game. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, and I will say that part of it too is from watching old documents. Oh, by the way, 73 was Luka's total. You were right. I gave him one extra point. For some reason, I was confident it was 74. 73. And the other player I was trying to think of, because they're tied for 73 points. Wilt Chamberlain, 73 points. Wilt Chamberlain, 73 points. Again, Luka Doncic, there he is. But David Thompson of the Denver Nuggets is the other player I was thinking of there.
Yeah, this season we've had 5 instances where players have scored 60 or more points in a game. Yeah. And 4 of them were this week.
Yeah. And I will say, from watching some of the older documentaries and hearing current players talk, back in the day when you were flying to an NBA game, like those Celtics teams and Laker teams, they were the first 2 to start to get like facilities and actual transportation, team jets to and from the games. But, prior to like the MJ era Bulls and things like that, you're flying commercial airliners back and forth between the game. Yeah. And for tall people, like the majority of the NBA players are, those planes aren't made for them, and now
they're made for normies like us.
Yes. And part of the reason also, as you're saying, the athletes have more time to focus on their conditioning and all these things, but also they have the facilities. Each team has facilities that would rival any gym, and a lot of these players have the money to put facilities in their own homes that are better than gyms, so they can do a lot of these things, but the comfortability, the overall comfortability of the players is also something that has improved greatly over the NBA's time.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, we're going to wrap things up for this edition of the Saturday Brunch on No Credentials Required. Thank you for joining us. If you've been watching live or you're going to watch on replay, whether it be on the No Credentials Required channel or on Rumble or on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, we appreciate you. We want to invite you to follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com /at /NoCredsREQ. YouTube.com /at NoCredsREQ. And as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you podcast, rate and review, give us a 5-star review. And also, if you're on a platform where you can review it, please leave a review. We might even read it on the air. Thank you for joining us on this edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. Both Dustin and I have been playing relatively hurt the last couple of weeks, so we're going to rest up for Tuesday's edition, and we'll see you then at 8 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday night. So until then, enjoy the sports.
Good morning, everybody.